Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down some expert advice on something we all go through, getting through tough times. We'll distill some really powerful, practical ways you can build resilience when life, throws you a curveball.
I mean, we've all been there, right? One minute, everything feels totally steady, and then boom, the next, it feels like the ground just shifts right under your feet, and you're left feeling completely overwhelmed, maybe even a little lost.
So, the good news? While you can't always control your circumstances, let's be real, you can absolutely learn to control your response. And that's where your true strength is built. It's all about finding those anchors in the storm.
All right, let's dive into that first anchor, because before we can take any real effective action, we've got to start with our internal world. I'm talking about how we think, and more importantly, what we choose to focus on.
And this right here, this is such a critical distinction. The first step, and the experts are all over this, is to shift your energy. Stop pouring it into things you just can't change, the past, what other people do, and instead pour it directly into that small circle of things you can actually influence. We're talking about your attitude, your actions, right here, right now.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Well, there are 4 really practical mental tools we can use. First, you got to acknowledge your own feeling, but, and this is key, without getting stuck there. From that point, you can actively shift your focus. You could practice gratitude or ask yourself helpful questions like, okay, what can I learn from this? And, remember times you've been through tough stuff before and came out the other side.
And that first point, the one about acknowledging your feelings, it's just so important. You have to give yourself permission to feel sad or angry or scared without judging yourself for it. Look, true strength isn't about bearing those emotions. It's about processing them, letting them move through you so that you can move forward. So, once you've started to shift that mindset, what's next? Well, the next step is turning that internal change into real external action. Because, let's be honest, thinking differently is only half the battle. Doing things differently, that's what creates actual momentum and brings back a sense of hope.
A really key strategy that experts recommend is to focus on what they call micro wins. When the big picture just feels way too overwhelming, forget about it. Just celebrate one small victory. Maybe you went for a 10-minute walk. Maybe you just chose a healthy meal. That one single act proves to yourself that progress is possible, and it starts to build momentum, one tiny little win at a time.
And check this out, here's a super simple routine you can use for a daily reset. And notice how accessible this stuff is, right? This isn't about some huge life overhaul. It's about small, intentional choices. Things like moving your body, getting some fresh air, unplugging from the noise, that can instantly break a negative thought pattern and just refuel you. And hey, let's not forget this. It is so easy to let these things slide when you're stressed out, but caring for your body, that directly fuels your ability to handle stress and think clearly. These aren't luxuries, people. They are absolute necessities for building resilience. Okay, this brings us to our final section. And honestly, it might be the most important one, the power of connection. Because let's face it, trying to handle everything all on your own, that's just a recipe for burnout. And all the research, all the experts, they totally agree on this. Sure, a little solitude can give you clarity, but isolation, that just magnifies the pain. Connection, though, that helps lighten the load. It reminds you that you're not the only one going through something hard. I gotta say this again, reaching out for support is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. And notice this, support isn't just about getting help. Sometimes the absolute best way to get out of your own head is to go help someone else. Building this system, through friends, community, even professional guidance, is a critical part of getting through any challenge. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Navigating hard times, it's not about one single heroic act. Nope. It's about the small, consistent choices you make every single day, in your mindset, in your actions, and in your connections. Those are the things that add up over time to build a real foundation of strength. So to finish up, I want to leave you with this question. Don't wait for the perfect moments or for when you magically feel better. Just pick one small step from everything we've talked about that you can take today, right now. Because that right there, that's where the journey back to solid ground really begins.